Hello everyone, Marie from Crafty Landing here with you today. I have my latest journal to share with you. It is from Rachel and Bella Crafts. This is my design team project for April and part of the 100 Days Junk Journal Ideas, which is going fantastic. I'm sure some of you have been following along and have been, if you're like me, really inspired by all the different ideas that people have come up with. It is absolutely brilliant. And we are now going to be moving on to a new kit as well. So that's doubly exciting. Rachel, you are amazing. I don't know how you do it, but you are truly, truly amazing. So I have here the Echoes of Nature kit in my journal here. And I am really, really pleased with how it's come out. I've mostly used the Echoes of Nature kit in this journal, but I also have sort of dipped into some other kits as well, namely Ruby and Pearl flower sellers, because I wanted to keep the vintage vibe with my journal. And I had these in my stash already, these lovely vintage ladies selling their flowers. So I wanted to include these in the kit because they just worked perfectly for me to get that vintage vibe. So yeah, let me talk about my cover a little bit. So it measures 8.5 tall by about 5.5 inches wide. I'm just going to get something to hold my book open here with a minute. Bear with, because my page with all my notes on is falling. There we go. So yes, 8.5 inches tall by about 5.5 inches wide. It's a hard cover. So it's chipboard sandwiched between two pieces of cardstock. So it is hardcover front and back. The spine is semi-flexible because I wanted the book to have a little bit of movement to help it open flat, which we'll get onto in a minute when I open it up. So the spine is semi-flexible. I have a pocket here at the front layered up with some lace and a ribbon ruffle there, and also lace covering the spine. And I've included, for the first time, there's actually lots of ideas in here that I've used for the very first time, and this is one of them, where I've used one of those ring pulls there, and I've just tied a ribbon bow, but I've also included a little dangle here. I've never done a bead dangle before, so this is my first time. It can be removed because, as you see, it's just, can you see that there? It's just on a lobster clasp, so it can be removed. So that is the spine. It has, in the pocket here, I've included, as I say, some of the flower sellers from Ruby and Pearl's kit. They are just gorgeous, aren't they? And I've just backed them onto some brown parcel paper and some from my scraps on the back to make them a bit sturdy. I've used a book plate for the title here, Flower Sellers, and I've included some book corners, front and back, and I don't do that often either, so that's been really nice to use that. And I also have included a little bunch of fabric flowers and leaves, which is just perfect for my flower seller theme. There we go. So, oops, so they just go back in there like that. It's a nice tight pocket, which I like being on the front cover. You don't want things falling out easily. So it is a nice tight pocket there. The closure is sari silk, green sari silk, and it's they have been attached with eyelets here, front and back. I call this my Yvonne Preston closure because when I started watching Yvonne Preston, she used to do, or still does, I expect, these doubled up sort of ties, and I so I always remember that, and I call that my Yvonne Preston closure. So that's my sari silk there. So it holds 15 pages, one signature with 15 pages. So that's 60 sides front and back, 30 the first half, 30 the second half. And as we open her here, I've used, this is from the kit, from the Echoes of Nature kit. Again, that torn look with brown paper, and I've just sort of bedded it here at the corner and used some of my heat tape there, which comes out like old sellotape, which I use quite a lot. If you've seen my flip outs, you will have seen me use it before. And we have a nice large tag here, with writing space on the back, and those are from the kit as well, and they're stuck on. Just again, that I think that's K&Co. That was from my scrapbooking stash, so that's quite old. It's from the K & Company 12 by 12, and it just works perfectly, doesn't it? It's gorgeous. So that large tag sits nicely in there. The hinges, even though the spine is flexy, the hinges are fabric inside, so it's not going to break or come apart because I've glued fabric down where the hinges, where it folds front and back. So it is quite sturdy, but I did want it, as you can see, if I just, I did want it to lay flat. So that's why I did a semi sort of flexy spine. So we have a little front page here, and again I've just folded up this music paper title sheet and put some strips of paper from the kit and another my flower sellers photos here with the old sellotape, which is my heat tape. That goes in there. Some journaling space on this side, and I have a top tuck here, so a nice top fold on this French letter here, and it's like very sagey green paper, quite thick. It's lovely, it is. So that's been folded over, and I've got a handmade tag here using papers and images from the kit. You get so much in Rachel's kits. You get the journal pages, you get the background pages, you get the fussy cutouts, and you get ephemera. There is just so much, and I think she does bundle prices as well, so you can buy them all in a bundle rather than separately. So I've just on this top tuck here, I've got two tiny eyelets, a little bit of twine, and a nice little floral wooden dangle here that's been glazed over on the top, and that's just lovely there. Turn that over, a little tuck here, old piano paper, images from the kit, and I've just made a little tag there. A nice sagey green doily, and this is one of the journal pages from the kit. It's beautiful. Echoes of Nature. It's perfect titled. It's just gorgeous. And I have a lace pocket on this side. I believe this is one of the background papers, so I've backed that. And this is an image from the kit, this beautiful, beautiful greenhouse. And I've collaged on the back, enough for journaling, ledger paper and tea stain paper. And I have some original invoice here from 1944, and it's from a market, wholesale market, which I thought was quite good because of course they be selling their flowers at the market. So that's an original piece of ephemera there, and I've tucked that in the lace pocket. And we have a title page from the book, a book here, and the book pages that I've used, I've made sure they relate to the theme. So you can see here the language of flowers. So I've used that one, and one of Rachel's envelopes in the kit I've just included there and stuck the opening of the envelope there. I must find something to put in this envelope. There's nothing in there, but I will put something in there. Music paper here, the English rose. Can you see that? The English rose, and I've done Rachel's. I think it might be in a freebie where we got some flowers to cut out, and I've cut out one of the flowers there and stuck it down on the music paper here. I think I've said before in my journals, I like the layered look, and I like the pages to be of differing heights and differing widths, and I feel it just adds that little bit more interest and attracts the eye. On this side, I shared this on the Facebook group page where I had used a paint swatch stamped over the top and some ruffle ribbon down there and used it as a tuck. And then I've made a long tag here, flower and vegetable seeds, and one of Rachel's smaller tags on the top. And I've backed that onto some old original ledger paper and some more of that piano roll there and just tied at the top. And that's a page from the kit. So it is really, really gorgeous for a nature themed journal. Now, I was inspired by many people during this collaboration, but a lot inspired by Steph from Hilltop View Journals. And I love the way she does her collage master boards, her collage pages, the way she works so free and easy. And I'm not like that at all. So I aspire to be a bit more like Steph, to feel less perfect in a way. If you watch her videos, she always says, you know, just she rolls with it. It will do, and she can, if it's not right, she can fix it. She's not going to stress over it. And Steph, I'm just trying to be more like you. And I will see you on the retreat. If you're going on Rachel's summer retreat at the barn, whoop, whoop, I will be there. I can't wait. It's not long now. Anyway, back to my journal. So yes, Steph has inspired me here for this background. I did lots of inking, stenciling on this tea stain page here, and then I just tore it over some book page and dictionary here, and then I've stuck one of Rachel's envelopes there, and I've left this one open and some journaling space inside. So this tea stain piece just folds out like that, perfect for journaling, and then close it up. And one of Rachel's little specimen slides there I've used for the closure of the envelope. This page here, I had a tea stain page, as you can see, and I was debating what to do with it, and I was trying to think of some ideas. And then I just stumbled upon this. It's a napkin here, and it just straight away reminded me of Jez, because at one of Rachel's retreats, Jez did a workshop where we used napkins and we made tags and lots of bits and pieces, and I had some of it left over, and so I've just glued it onto this tea stain page here, and I've glued it with glue stick, so it worked well with glue stick. I haven't Mod Podged or anything over the top. It's holding well. There's no little corners that are coming up, lifting, so I'm really pleased with that. And then I cut out two of Rachel's butterflies that are included with the kit. I can't remember which one they're in. It's probably the Fussy Cuts or a freebie, and I've stuck them on with the napkin, and I'm just really pleased with how it's turned out, and still lots of journaling space. As you know, if you follow me, you will know already that I like to include some writing space in my journals, because I am a journaler and I like to think that there are some spaces for people to write. So I always include them in my journal where possible. Now, I'm going to take this tag out because I want to show you this lovely paper bag, collaged up, and it opens up like a flip, and I've just done some page edge collage here and lots of room for journaling. Now this has come from one of the retreats. This is a gift, and I really can't remember who gave it to me. So if you're watching and you've been on one of Rachel's retreats and you recognise it, please let me know. It's a nice pocket there, and it's collaged up, and it's a paper bag, so the way it's been folded and glued, it has left a little space there for a tag. So I've just collaged up a plain white tag, inked it, collaged it up, and that goes in there like that. But as I say, the actual paper bag, Ronnie, was it you? Has actually come from one of Rachel's retreats, and it makes a lovely pocket just there, and I've used it as a flip out. And over here we have a handmade tag. That's original vintage wallpaper, real wallpaper, one of Rachel's butterflies and a little bit of lace there. The background is from Rachel's kit and another of the flower sellers from Ruby and Pearl. That is one of the kit pages in French, all to do with flowers. So how lovely. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? Gorgeous, gorgeous. Let me put that back on there. I don't usually have anything on the backs of my paper clips because I always get frustrated when I take the first item out, and if there's anything on the back, as soon as you take the paper clip out, it gets lost somewhere amongst the pages. So it's not often do I put anything on the other side. Background here, this is from the kit. This is one of the journal pages, not the background, but I've used it as the background to that page there. Some flower book page, genuine book page, and another one about roses. Can you see I've tried to find and use, is that going to, there you go. Tried to find and use book pages that will, work well. And again, I've fussy cut one of Rachel's flowers and stuck it on there. Here I have a stamp, used one of my stamps and a Hessian flower to create this pocket here, and it holds some ephemera from the kit, and I've just torn that piece off there on purpose, and I've backed it on some backing from the kit, but one of the lighter ones, so that it still can be journaled on. So they fit lovely in there. And some more journaling space. I've left the person who owned this book before me, I've left some writing there, £1.50. So they might have paid £1.50 for something. I don't know if it was the book that this came out of or whether it was something else. They could have been their shopping list, I don't know. But I've left that handwriting there. I always like to leave like the real things there. A slimline tea stain page here, and now this I think is from Caroline. Oh gosh, I'll link her below. I've been watching, now I've forgotten the name, but I've been watching her, and she made some hidden paperclip sort of cluster things, hidden paperclip, and I love it. So I loved what she did, so I followed her example, and it's like a zigzag. You fold the paper in a zigzag and glue it over the paperclip. This is actually the paperclip here, and I've tied a bit of ribbon on it, and then I've clustered up some lace, one of Rachel's cutouts, and a flower, and I just popped it over this tea stain page here. And on the other side, see, this is what I don't like. It flops out. As soon as you take something out, I get frustrated. I don't know why, but that just like, But I've used another image of the flower sellers here and a book page word flowering down there. And because it's a hidden paperclip, I just slide under there. And that is a cutout flower from Rachel's kit. Another lace pocket here. I've stuck this lace pocket slightly up the page, so used a little lace trim here. So again, it adds interest, I feel. So the pocket isn't down the page, it's a little way up. And inside this pocket, I have some original ephemera. That beautiful lady there with her flowers, and that's a postcard. And I picked this one, well, on holiday when my husband and I were in Krakow, and we went to like a flea market, and I saw them there, and didn't pick any up the first time, but then I sent my husband back and asked him to choose and make a bundle and get some for me. So didn't my husband choose well? This is a lovely one, isn't it? So that is from Krakow. This is one of the pages from the kit. I love the crackle effect in this one. And there is an envelope. Rachel's got an envelope in the kit with this pattern and page on it as well. It's lovely. So that's the postcard, and also a picture from a book of this beautiful cottage. And I imagine that's where the ladies, the flower sellers, are actually growing their flowers in the garden here. It's gorgeous, isn't it? So that's come from a book. Okay, and they just go in there. And on the other side, again, this was inspired by, I was inspired by Steph. She made these little note, which way am I going, Marie? Okay, is it this one? Silly me. She made these little, I think she called them tag notelets or booklets, and it looks like a tag here. So when you completely open it up, it's like a very long tag, and then you have some scrappy bits to make a notepad inside. So Steph, thank you for that idea. That is my version, and like a little policy closure there, which she used, and I've done the same. Oh, and I've made mine with like little 2 floral brads, and a small circle and a big circle. I find that helps me wrap the twine around slightly easier. She says having difficulty. Why does it never work the way you want it to on camera? There we go. There we go. A bit of lace there because this is one of Rachel's envelopes. So, yep, I've included one of those. And inside, we have another original postcard and a British postcard, but it's sort of like, again, it's a market. So it's people's a sort of like an invoice or a receipt of what's been bought at the market. And this was dated 1952. So I've popped those in the envelope, and I backed the envelope with tea stain paper. And on this side of the envelope, another flower seller backed in piano roll, as you can see, and just grunged it up a little bit here. And I made just this like little tuck by using my scraps and brads to keep it there, and which I folded it over, and it then made like a little tuck, and the brads helped to stop making it fall out down the bottom. It's just like a little tuck, so that goes nicely in there. And on this side, again inspired by Steph, with my grungy come collaged page, and I've folded it over this time to make a pocket, and I just have this lovely, I don't know what it is, check from the kit, and I've backed it, and this is from my scrap box, but the flower is from Rachel's kit, so I've cut it out and stuck it on there with some butterflies that was already on that piece of paper from my scraps. So they go in that pocket there. And on this side we have the center spread. That's from the kit. That's just beautiful. There's so much to look at. Why would you want to cover it up? It's just gorgeous, isn't it? So what I've done is I've used the, again, hyacinth from a music book, and I folded it and made 2 little envelopes. So out of it, and we have this one here, which has been cut out from another of this sheet. So that bit is that there that I've cut out and just made it into a journaling card, and tore this and used some of my heat tape there again. So that's that pocket. Nice snug fit. Close that envelope, made it into like 2 little envelope pockets. So, and on this side, again, a nice journaling card, and that is from the kit. I think this was one of the toppers that are in the kit. There's like a sheet, 3 sheets, I think, of different toppers. And I used this one to make my journaling card and collaged it up at the back, but still left room for some journaling. And there's plenty of space in there to pop other things if you want. So there's a bit of hidden journaling going on there. And then this is the other side of that center spread. And on this side, I have one of my tags. Again, I think this one was shown on the Facebook page. I made this tag with a torn bottom here, so very vintage. Page from Rachel's kit, butterfly from the kit, flower seller, and handmade paper. I've got some green handmade paper which I've just torn off there, and some white handmade paper that I embossed. There, can you see it? Eyelets and some of that sari silk, the same sari silk as the closure there, and plenty of journaling space on the back. And again, my collaged pages from being inspired by our Steph, and a book page here, but there was space up here which I was going to leave for some journaling, but then I've decided to use 2 of Rachel's specimen slides to make a pocket, a small pocket, and then I've used 2 of her envelopes here. Okay, that's like a coin envelope type thing, and this one is a fold over envelope. So 2 mini envelopes which fit just nicely in there. And on this side, I have a tag, but this tag lifts up to reveal some journaling space on the back of this book page. So I've just used some of my stenciled and inked tea stain paper for the hinge there. And it has a belly band on this tag, attached by 2 brads there. And I have this little notelet that comes out and you can journal on, and I've used that image from one of Rachel's papers, and that just goes in there. And then of course lift it up for some hidden journaling. I had this lovely piece of vellum, sweet pea, in my stash, and this is Rachel's kit, that lovely crackled green background page, and I made this vellum pocket here on it, so you can see that lovely green through the back of the vellum. And I've made a tag using, again, the same sheet from my centre spread here. So that is that one there, and I've made it into a journaling tag, extended it a little bit here so that it would fit better in the pocket once I had put the ruffle on. The ruffle stopped it from going in the pocket, so I wanted to extend the pocket a little bit, and also that bit makes it sturdy, so when you're taking it in and out of the pocket it won't get damaged too much. So that just sits nicely in there. And on the other side I have another of my stamped pockets with the Hessian flower, and I've made a tag, pull out from the top, flower sellers. This is from Rachel's kit. I've just made a tab, cut out a flower from the napkin and glued that on. Original vintage wallpaper, and this background here is from Rachel's kit, and I've just collaged it out with a bit of ledger. And again, collaged on the back book page, and that's one of Rachel's butterflies, and some journaling space there. There's that green, it's lovely, isn't it? It's gorgeous. And that just pops in there like that. Tea stain page on this side, bit of a page edge border, and some journaling space here that I cut out, I think. I don't know if that's from the kit or from my stash, but it just looks lovely there. Fussy cut it out, and there's some lined journaling space. The other side of the page edge, and I've also backed this one onto brown paper before gluing it onto the tea stain page to give it that vintage feel, all torn as well. And we have some hearts in the kit, so I've taken one of those and made a pocket using some ephemera pieces from the kit that I've backed onto my stenciled mixed media piece there. And I've got a little ribbon or lacy ruffle here, plenty of journaling space, book page, and I've just folded this end of the book page over. So if I take this off, I folded the book page over, look, and it holds this. I had this in my stash, one of Rachel's butterflies, and I made this into like a long journaling card, and this is another envelope from Rachel's kit, one of these little mini envelopes. So I just popped that under there and that one over the top to create a bit of interest, and then one of my little Tim Holtz paper clips there. Another floral book page there, and another one of my tags. There we go. And again, just all collaged up. Sari silk tie, flower sellers, one of Rachel's butterflies, bits and pieces from her background kits and one of her flowers. And this is from her journal page. You get so much. I could have made 2 of these, I think, because Rachel, you really, really do give us so much. And this is the back of the journal page as well. That's from the kit, just beautiful as is. Very much inspired by Steph again, this page from a book, and I've collaged it up here, and it flips open to create more journaling space. So tea stained pages here and one of the floral cutouts, and I just collaged it up. This is actually one of the masterboards that we made at Rachel's retreat, and she photocopied them all and then sent them to not photocopied, scanned them, sorry, and then she sent them all to the people that were on the retreat. We made masterboards while we were there, so now we have like a digital kit of everybody's masterboards. How good is that? And it was fun. So that gets turned over there, and I have like a little tuck spot here. That's from my stash, and another tag that I've made, this time with line paper on the back, and from the kit, just all layered up, and that fits into there. This is one of the envelopes that Rachel has in the kit. I've used the envelope as a flip out, and this is from the kit as well, and I've backed it onto the brown paper to give it that vintage feel on my collaged page here as well. And when you flip that open, that side is also a piece of journaling page. I think that's one of the backgrounds from the kit. It's gorgeous. Look at that bow. Oh, gorgeous. And I've just made another sort of waterfall style space for journaling, all lined. One of Rachel's specimen slides there on the top one, and that keeps that closed there. So a nice bit of secret journaling. And on this side, I have another tuck spot. That's the envelope. I cut some of it off, but left a little bit here to use as like a pocket. And I covered it in some genuine vintage lace here, and one of Rachel's papers. And this is in the kit, and this is another heart from the kit, and I've attached it using a brad, a split pin, and I covered the split pin up with the paper here, little bit of music paper, and journaling space on the back. So that goes like that, and the butterfly one just slides in that tuck spot there. Music paper, specimen slide for a tab, and some journaling space with a tab on this book page here. And then finally on the back page, I've torn the edge of this paper, folded it over, and inside here we have another tag that I've created, another flower seller, a bit of collaging, genuine wallpaper, vintage wallpaper, some of the papers from the kit, and collage the back. And you can see that that is more piano paper there. So journaling can be done on the back. And then here is some annuals, like a vintage seed packet. And I've just put that onto some ledger paper to allow for more journaling. So those two get held underneath that fold over page there. Where's my little paper clip? There it is. So they just get held under there like that. There we go. And on this side, I have a little pocket with one of Rachel's tags in there. And that lovely sage green doily, this lovely genuine French letter on this lovely paper, and very small thin top tuck spot there. And I've just some French text and collaged it up for some journaling. And then this one here, tiny pocket from the music paper, the title paper from the music, and one of Rachel's tiny, tiny little flowers there, and the back. So there we have a flip out of my Echoes of Nature journal. It is for sale. If any of you are interested, please send me a message or find me in the Facebook group or on Instagram as Crafty Landing and Crafty Landing Makes. And yeah, Rachel, thank you again. Steph, thank you for inspiring me. And there are some others as well. And I will link everything below and everyone below, and you can go and check them out. So now I am ready to move on to Rachel's new kit, whoop whoop, which is a dressmaker's journal. How fantastic is that? So during the 100 days drop journal ideas, Rachel has actually given us 3 kits to use to keep us inspired and keep us going. Her organisation for such a big event like 100 days, the collaboration, it's just, she's done fantastic. Big shout out to Bella as well, Rachel's mother, because Bella is constantly bringing out videos as well. So good on you, and thank you everyone for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't, comment if you'd like to. It all helps grow my YouTube channel, which is quite small. So yeah, any support I would be very grateful for. Okay, and I shall see you again soon. Thanks everybody. Bye.